hit that subscribe button and give this video a like, as well as turn on your notifications so you won't miss when I upload a new video. With that said, let's get on with today's video. Okay guys, so this is the fabric that I'll be using today. This is a woven fabric, not a knit. The name of the pattern that I'm making, I think these are called like the Saya Seal, or I'll put it on the screen, whatever the name of the pattern is, and I'll put a link in the description box for the pattern as well. But yeah, so I have already cut out my pieces. I really took my time on cutting them out this time because normally I don't. But I really took my time cutting them out this time so that I can make sure to get a good result. I'm trying to do better with my sewing. So I have all my pieces here, and I'm going to leave them together with the pattern pieces just so I can know what they are for right now. But step one, well, the step after you cut everything out, the first step of the actual pattern is to join your front and your back together. I believe this size that I have is this a 6 month? It's either a 3 or 6 month that I cut. And I also cut a matching bow to go with it. So that's a different pattern. I'm gonna try out a bow. So let me take that piece away. Let me take those pieces away. So these are my bow pieces. I'm gonna set them aside over here. But yeah, these are my pant pattern pieces. Make sure I have them all. Waistline, ruffle, leg opening, front and back. Okay, yeah. So you're supposed to join the side seams together. That's the first step. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'm gonna do that on my serger. Now me and this serger are still getting to know each other, but I'm doing better than I was when I first started. So I'm gonna clip these together, not too much, but I'm gonna clip them enough so that they'll stay together while I'm, you know, it won't move too much while I'm serging. I know that it says you can also do this on a sewing machine. You don't need to use a zigzag stitch for if you're doing a woven fabric, but if you're doing a knit fabric, you definitely want to use a stretch stitch. But since I'm using the serger, I don't need to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and join my two sides, and then I'm going to go ahead and serge them up, and then I'll get to the next step. And I'm just going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Now I actually enjoy sewing wovens more than I enjoy sewing knits. Knits, they give me trouble, but wovens, I've just always had a much easier time sewing. I'm learning more about knits, but I still prefer wovens or non-stretch fabrics. And I use that tip that I learned from Nancy Blank to kind of pull it towards the back once you're pulling it off, and it does make it to where the tails are a little more, it's not loose at the end. So thank you, Nancy, for that tip. I'm gonna go ahead and tuck these tails in, and then I will be right back. Okay, so the next step is to prepare the waist ruffle. I think this is what it's called. It took me a minute. I had to read the pattern like really carefully because I think the maker of this pattern might not be from the United States, so her wording was a little bit tricky, but I think I figured it out. So I'm gonna unfold my waistline ruffle piece, and it says to fold down the top edge it's in centimeters, but basically 1 1/4 inches. So that's what I did, and I did use my little measuring thing to measure and make sure that's what I was at. And it says to press it. I'm at my table. I don't have a lot of space right here for pressing and all that good stuff, so I'm at my table, but I'm just pressing my fabric over some other fabric that I had on hand, just so I wouldn't be pressing it directly on my table, because I cannot locate my ironing board for some reason. So I probably need to get another one. I used to have one of those small like travel mini ironing boards, so I'll look for that later, but this will work fine for now. And all you want to do is make sure to press down the edge like it's saying, all the way across. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm just gonna remove my clips as I go. I also need a new iron. I have this iron, I've had this iron for years. It's just a little iron from Walmart, a cheap iron. It gets the job done, but I would love to have like one of those fancy irons. I don't iron clothes, mind you, ever. So I'm usually always wrinkled, but you know, you need to press your makes. So I do need a better iron. But yeah, see, I have that all pressed down the 1 1/4 inch on that top edge, and you are pressing down the right side of the fabric to the wrong side of the fabric. So the next thing the pattern states is for you to take the short edges of your fabric, and I believe you're to unfold them like this here on this edge and attach them. So I have that memory crease there, so that's not gonna hurt anything. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get this side of this ruffle serged, and I will be right back. Okay, here I am back at the serger, and like I said, I'm just gonna take the side of this waistline ruffle and I'm going to serge it. And these scissors are really dull. Those are my paper scissors, so it doesn't really matter. But okay, I got that side of that ruffle seam serged just fine. Sorry about the lighting. And the next thing it says to do is to attach it to the pants. So that will be the next thing that I do. I'm gonna go ahead and push this back so I can work on this really quick. Okay, so I have my pants here. They're still on the wrong side, as you can see. I did not tuck those tails yet. Probably should do that. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'll do that in a minute. But so the ruffle, waistline ruffle, you see here's the top folded edge with the memory crease. Basically, I'm going to slip this onto the top of my pants. So I'm basically going to put them in here like this, my pants inside. And then I'm going to meet up the two side seams. Well, I'm going to meet up the seam. I don't know if I'm supposed to put this seam in the back. It didn't say. But I'm thinking I would just want to put that seam to the back of the pants. I'll do that. It doesn't say on the pattern which way to do it, but I guess I'll just do it that way. And if it's wrong, you know, I'm still learning, like I said. So I'm gonna put this here, and I'm gonna make sure that the back of my seam is in the direct center of my waistline ruffle, and I'm gonna pin it or clip it. Now what I'm noticing, and I don't know if it's just because I'm using a woven, this waistline is bigger, and I know with the let me see, can I stretch it at all? Yeah, with a knit fabric, that wouldn't be an issue, but I think that might be a little bit of an issue with this fabric. But I'm just gonna quarter this off as best as I can, and this fabric has a little bit of stretch to it, so I'm gonna see if I'm able to stretch it at all between these points. But if not, like I said, learning experience. So it did say that you can use wovens on this pattern, so I know that it's possible. I just need to make sure I'm doing it correctly. I'm a complete, I wouldn't say beginner, but I'm still a novice. So I think I have it pinned or clipped well enough. I'm gonna go ahead and add more clips because, like I said, I'm still pretty new. I know this can stretch a little bit, so I'm just gonna add a couple more clips to make sure that I'm getting it to fit the space that I need it to fit. In the end, it really won't, I guess it won't matter as much because this will have like an elastic waistband. So, but I still want to make sure I get it, you know, as good as I can. And I didn't even check and see if I had matching thread for this color fabric. But if nothing else, I'll just use some white. It does have white in the fabric, so that'll be fine. These are just going to be, this is just like a practice. You know, I have a bunch of fabric I don't use, and what better way to use it than just to practice. So that's what I'm doing. See that big gap there? See, you can kind of stretch it. Yeah, it stretches just a little bit, so I'm going to stretch it just a little bit, just to make the parts between those areas just a little bit smaller, so that I won't run the chance of, you know, missing any. So now I'm going to go ahead and serge all around here, and then we'll move on to the next step. I am gonna start at the back seam, and like I said, I'm gonna try to stretch it just a little bit to make it fit a little better. And if ever you see it, like your fabric starting to shift a little bit, I just will lift the presser foot and kind of like try to meet them back up together, because I do see it kind of trying to shift a little bit right here. But just take your time. It's no rush, not a race. And get it done as best you can. Let's see. So I do have quite a bit more right here than I wanted. So what I'm gonna do, I just folded that side seam over just a little bit, and it'll be fine. And I'm gonna go past it just a little bit, and then sew right on off the back. And there we go. And the next step I know is to turn the pants inside out so that I can work on the actual ruffle. So let me go ahead and get these tails tucked, and then I will be back with that next step. Okay, so we're back over here at my little pressing station, whatever we're gonna call it. And basically the next step is to press the seam up. I did turn the pants right side out. So basically the next step is to press the seam from where we just attached the waist ruffle, press that seam up towards the ruffle. So that's what I'm gonna do here, and I'm just gonna try to give it a good press. I'm gonna flip it over and make sure I got this side good as well. Okay. And while I'm over here, I'm also gonna go ahead and like press these sides. Just like press the whole thing. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just press the whole thing, making sure I'm pulling the sides out where the seams are. And there we go. So like I said, the next thing we're working on is this ruffle side. So I have to basically get this ruffle part down at the top. Now the pattern says to iron the seam towards the ruffle part, which I've done, and it says overlock the edge of the ruffle. So it wants me to serge the end of the ruffle, and then I think that we're going to fold it over and top stitch it. So It just says 5 millimeters from the edge. So it doesn't really, this pattern is kind of vague. It doesn't really give like measurements on exactly where it wants you to do it. So I see here it says you can fold between 1 centimeter and 2 centimeters. So I'm just gonna fold, overlap the edge or serge the edge, and then just fold maybe, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 inch down. I'll see how that looks, but let me go ahead and get the edge serged first, and I will be right back to do the other part. Stay right here and clip it, like measure it and clip it the way that I want it, and then go ahead and fold it down, and then I'll have to top stitch on my sewing machine. So I think that's what I'll do. Let me go ahead and get my little ruler and see how far. I think I want to go maybe about 3/4 of an inch down. Let's see. I think here is good. And I'm just gonna clip it. And I know I should go and press it, but I think it'll be okay if I don't. I'm just gonna measure and make sure I'm going about the same amount all the way around. And usually once you have that measurement on the one side, it's pretty easy to just get that same measurement all the way around. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's go ahead all the way around. I don't know about anybody else, but like sewing, even though I'm not the best at it, it really calms me down. I don't know, something about having to like focus on a pattern and, you know, trying to make something into something, like something about that whole process just like calms my anxiety and my nerves, and it makes me happy. Like my sister was the person that turned me on to sewing. She started sewing and then she told me you should try it. I bought my little refurbished Project Runway sewing machine and I was off from there. Like it's something that I truly do love, and I really ought to do much more often than I do. So that's what I'm trying to get more into, sewing more. I have a lot of projects lined up, a lot of patterns to try out, so I'm excited. But yeah, okay, so I have my as you can see, I have everything, you know, clipped, and I'm gonna go ahead and set up my sewing machine, and I will meet you over at that sewing machine. Now I'm at my sewing machine. I did go ahead and press that ruffle seam and reclip it off camera. I am now winding my bobbin. I did find a thread to match it, to match the fabric. I found like a light tan color thread, so that's what I'm gonna use for both my bobbin and my top thread. I'm just winding the bobbin. I was about out anyway, so it just made sense to go ahead and wind one. And I can still finish this bobbin on other projects. It's like a cream, like a soft off-white color, so it won't make much of a difference. So yeah, I'm just gonna get this bobbin wound, and I'm gonna thread my sewing machine, and then I'm gonna go ahead and top stitch that ruffle edge. Now, I'm not the best top stitcher. It's something I really struggle at. So I'm just gonna try my best. Okay, so my bobbin is done. I'm gonna take that off and cut it. And then I'm gonna put it in here. And just follow the guide on your sewing machine to however you do put your bobbins in. And then I'm going to go ahead and thread my machine. So make sure I got everything. My machine really does need to get cleaned. It's really dusty and dirty. I need to clean it. I gotta do better. But it's okay. Okay. So now my little automatic thread thing doesn't work, so I have to do it manually. But there we go. And then I need to pull up my bobbin thread. And there we go. And I just pull both of them to the back. Okay, now I am ready to top stitch, I think. Let me see, can I get you all a little closer? Not too close though, because like I said, I suck at top stitching. So I don't think I'm gonna top stitch from this side. And that's only because that way I know where I'm going. I can at least try to stay somewhat in line, and I don't think it'll matter much because I have my bobbin thread and my top thread the same. So I'm just gonna start here at this seam. This is that back seam of this ruffle. I'm just gonna start there and let's see how we go. And I am going to back stitch right here at this this seam. I'm just gonna make sure I have it like pressed down as flat as I can get it. I know it's probably smarter to go on the other side, but I'd like to do things a little, I do things my way over here, like, so I'm gonna go ahead and back stitch. And then I'm just gonna try my best to stay somewhat straight. And I'm just on a regular straight stitch. And I'm taking my time, I'm not going too fast. And the pattern calls for 2 sets of stitches, but I most likely will just do 1. Because like I said, top stitching for me is a nightmare. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I need to practice it more, but yeah, I'm just not good at it. And if I had thread that matched this fabric better, like the burnt orange terracotta color better, then I probably would go ahead and do 2 sets of stitches, or because it wouldn't matter as much. But since I don't, I'm just going to do maybe 1 set of stitches just to make sure that I'm getting this ruffle sewn down. And I'm back at that seam, and I'm just gonna back stitch again. And there we go. And I'll just cut it off. And push that sewing machine back, and let's see what we got here. Let me go ahead and snip these threads. I really need a pair of like little snips, because you know your scissors are dull when they can't even cut a piece of thread. Okay, so let's just flip it over and see what we got. Not bad, not terrible, not wobbly, not wavy. So I think I would do it that way from now on. I might go back and do another set of stitches later. I haven't decided yet. Okay, so now since I have that done, I'm gonna go ahead and check the pattern again and see what our next step is on these cute pants. Okay, so off camera, I went ahead and I did go ahead and press down the waistband or whatever. You're supposed to fold over the ruffle, and you'll still have that memory crease where you had pressed the ruffle down in the beginning. You just want to press that while the pants are right side out. You just want to fold it over on the wrong side into that memory crease. And then it says you feel for the seam, and you're going to sew like right under the seam, and that'll create that elastic waistband. I'm gonna cheat a little bit again, and I'm gonna top stitch on this side of the fabric. I'm gonna try to stay right here under this seam. My seam is not even all the way around, mainly right here where this back part of this ruffle is, and that probably just came from me not paying enough attention. But when you look at the ruffle itself, it's not uneven. So I mean, I'm gonna go with it, like, and we'll see how they come out. But yeah, so now I need to go ahead and I'm gonna leave this back part here open so that I can insert my elastic, and then I'll close that shut afterwards. But I'm gonna go ahead and start top stitching, or in this case not top stitching, but it's still fine. I'm gonna stitch it and try to follow that seam and stitch it and get my waistband made, and then I'll insert the elastic. remove these clips. And I'm gonna go ahead and start inserting the elastic. Let me go ahead and trim these threads as well. You see here there's an opening for the casing for you to thread your elastic through. So let me see if I can locate my safety pin. Now the elastic is cut at 17.5 centimeters, I believe. No, 39.5 centimeters. So let's see. In inches, it is 15.5 inches. So I'm just gonna take my safety pin. See if I can get it to focus. Okay, take my safety pin, and of course, you know, you put it in the end, and then I'm just gonna insert it through the hole that you made, or the hole that you left open in the casing, and I'm just going to make sure it lays flat and pull it all the way around. And you want to make sure you're watching the end of it so that when you get to the end of your pants, or when your elastic is coming up through the end of the other side of the casing, it doesn't slide in. Sometimes I'll pin it, but most of the time I just wing it. So let's see. I might have to pin it this time though, since I don't have a huge safety pin. It's like I can only gather so much at a time. And I'm almost to the end. And once I finish this, I'll sew the elastic closed, and then I will sew that hole closed, and then I'll be back with the next step. Now I'm gonna go on it from the outside this time, and I'm going to meet up where I left off the last time so that I can close that hole up. And I went a little bit over just to make sure. I mean, these are just practice. I'll do better next time. But for now, this should be fine. I'm gonna find thread, matching thread next time for top stitching. Like I said, top stitching is just not, it's just not my thing. But we got a waistband and we got a little cute ruffle. But like I said, I want the ruffle to be even, you know, bigger. It's not supposed to be a big ruffle. It's just supposed to be a small ruffle. But we got the ruffle and I got the pants done. Now I'm gonna work on the bottom part of the pants. Okay, I'm back over here at my serger. I got my waistband and everything done, and that's done. So now I am going to close up my leg holes. So I'm gonna flip my pants back inside out like so, and I'm just simply going to serge around the leg holes. Serge from this end to this end. Of course, don't serge these closed, just serge around from one end to the next end. And I'm just gonna put a few clips and then I'm gonna go ahead and do that really quick. Okay, raise your presser foot. And go ahead and serge your leg hole closed. Or your crotch seam closed. Okay, so let's see. Yep, they're all closed up. So the next thing to do is to get your pieces for the leg holes. And I have those two pieces here for the leg holes. Okay, I'm back and I have pressed them right sides together, then opened them up, and now I'm just gonna serge the short ends. Match up these two seams, this side seam with this seam, and then pin it or clip it. And then you're gonna go around and just clip the whole thing, and do this for both legs. And I am gonna sew this because I'm gonna sew it first. Or am I gonna serge it? No, I'm gonna serge it, and I'm just going to leave a spot open for my to put my elastic through, and then I'll go back and I'll close the opening. So I'm gonna do this to both pants legs, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I fixed the cuffs. I just had to I researched the edges to give them a little more sturdiness, and then I had to leave an opening here in both sides. So now I'm gonna attempt to sew this cuff onto this small little thing, and then once I do that, I will move on to inserting the elastic, and we are almost done with the pants, and then I'll move on to the bow. I have finished the pants. I have went ahead and I serged the inside. Not perfect. I need to trim a few more threads, but overall they look good. And here they are. Little ruffle here, and I think they are so adorable. I'll attach some pictures as well. But yeah, I think they're cute little pants. Let me see, can I get a better view? Here are the pants. Very, very cute. It wasn't too bad actually serging around the bottom. So I did go back, I sewed them on, then I went back and serged the edges and tucked the tails in. And I did that on both sides. I just still need to go back and trim some threads all over. Actually, I need to go back and trim some threads. I didn't do that because my scissors are kind of dull, but for the most part, this is my first time doing this pattern. So for the most part, I feel like they are good. I need to go and tuck those tails as well, but yeah, they are good. They look good, and I will try this pattern again next time. I think it would be so cute to add some little pockets in here. But yeah, I'm gonna try this pattern again. I'm gonna go ahead and tuck those tails and trim the rest of the threads, and I will attach pictures of these at the end. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start on the bow. It looks like an easy enough sew. So you're supposed to use one main fabric and one lining fabric. I'm using the same fabric on both of them. So the first step is to piece together one main and one lining of the main bow piece, and that's what I did. And you're gonna stitch, you're gonna basically start on this end of the straight end. You're gonna start here, go all the way around the bow, and then end up here and stop, and back stitch at both ends. So that's what I'm gonna do to both pieces, because I have one and then I have 2. So I'm going to do that to both of these, and then I will go on to the next step. And it does say your seam allowance is a 1/4 inch, so I'm just going to line mine right up with the edge of my presser foot. And like I said, back stitch at the beginning, and just try to keep, I didn't even bother pinning or clipping. I probably should have, but I'm just gonna be mindful to pay attention and try to keep my pieces together. So what I'm going to do is clip my corners. Make sure you don't clip into the stitches. Let me get some actual scissors this time. And you're just going to, let me see, can I get it to focus? Yeah, you're just going to clip off the corner. See there? And do that to the other side as well. Just make sure not to clip into the stitching. And then I'm going to turn my bow pieces out. Now that you got both of your bow pieces turned out, just set it aside and we'll work on our other pieces. So with these 2 pieces, you're going to do the same thing, put them right sides together. And I am going to sew these here to here on the long ends. Same thing I did with the other one, basically just attaching them together. I'm going to sew them on the long ends. I'm going to back stitch at the beginning and the end. And it's a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Sometimes I need to get my machine started a little bit, so I'll go a little bit past my start mark with my fabric and then back stitch, because sometimes my machine wants to eat the fabric. And then I'll go back and I'll back stitch. But just do that on both sides and then we'll flip it around. Back stitch. Same thing on the other side. Now that's sewn on both ends, and I'm going to flip it inside out, or flip it right side out. And I got it flipped. And now I'm gonna go over here really quickly and press this flat. I'm gonna press all the parts actually, and then I'll be right back. So I'm here about to just start sewing these 4 straight stitches. I think, like I said, I'm going to go like a little bit outside of the line that I drew because I think it was a little too narrow. So I'm going to make sure I'm hitting like right outside of that line. And then I'm just going to go, and I'm not even going to bother like back stitching. I don't know how straight these lines need to be, but I'm gonna do my best. That's all I can do. Okay, so that's one, and now I'm gonna sew the next one a little bit outside of that line. So I say about right there should be good. Okay, so that's 2 lines, and I think my elastic can definitely fit through there. I have no clue as to why it's so dark right here. I don't know. I apologize about the lighting, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing for the next ones and make it a little wider than it needs to be. For these bows, I mean for this elastic guide or elastic line. And one more. Let's see, I'll put that one about right there. Maybe a little over, maybe about right there. Okay. Let's go. Okay, you see I have my elastic guides sewn in there. So I'm gonna come back over here to where the lighting is a little better, and then I'll show you how I put the elastic in. Okay, I figured out that the lighting was my battery, so I went ahead and just plugged my phone in. Like I said, you see I have the elastic guides here, and the elastic needs to be 10 centimeters long, according to the pattern, which is 4 inches. So 4 inches, 2 pieces of 4-inch long elastic, thread it through, and I use the safety pin method, of course. Take your safety pin and you're gonna put it through one end and make sure it lays flat, and then you're just gonna like grab your pin all the way through, and we're gonna thread it all the way through to the other end. And once you get to the other end, it says to pin both sides of your elastic to the ends. So I'm gonna, and one of my ends snuck through because I wasn't watching it. Luckily it didn't go too far in, it's right here. So yeah, grab that out, and let me get my pins out. You're meant to pin it to the end. And now I can finish feeding the other side through with my safety pin. And once that's through, be careful not to stick yourself with the pin on the other end, but you want to kind of ruffle it together, and then take your safety pin out and pin this side as well. Okay, and there, you're going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm really not a fan of pins. I rarely use them. I always use my clips. But yeah, you're going to do the same thing with the other side, and try not to stick yourself in the process, like I said. So feed it through. Start it at the beginning, make sure it lays flat. I'm sorry, I'm going through the wrong part. Right here, in between your two stitches. And keep an eye on your other end so that when you get close enough to the end, you can go ahead and pin it. And see, I'm almost there, so I'm going to go ahead and pin this one. And then I'm going to continue to thread this one through, and still be mindful of the other pin on the other side you have. Be mindful of all pins. Do not stick yourself. It's not pleasant. Okay. There we go. And let's just get this one out here a little bit. Enough so I can take off this safety pin. And then pin this side as well. And now you have both sides pinned. You can go ahead and spread out your gathers on both sides. Go ahead and spread out your gathers. And that's what that part looks like. There you go. And that is the middle bow piece. So the next part of the pattern says to Sew the elastic band in 4 places using a straight stitch. So I'm going to do that part off camera. Basically, it just wants you to sew right over these pieces of elastic on each one of the edges. So that's what I'm going to do, and I will be right back. Okay, so the next thing I did, I got those 4 points sewed up on, my hands are ashy, y'all excuse me. I got those 4 points sewed up on all the sides. Now the next thing you're going to do is attach this to the pieces, attach B to this. So what I went ahead and did was I folded down the raw edges on the ends of B, only like maybe a 1/4 inch. I folded them down in under and press them, and what the pattern shows is that you just basically slide it over the edge of your bow piece, and you pin it, and then you just use a straight stitch. So I think it's really important to make sure that you catch that edge really well. So I'm gonna pin it and make sure that you catch the edge of your elasticized piece, your middle piece. Make sure you catch it in there really good in that straight stitch when you go and do it at the sewing machine. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm gonna get that pinned on both sides, and then I'm gonna go ahead and sew it together, and then I believe this bow will be done. And let me get this side, and you want to make sure that both your tails, when you pin it on, are facing the same way. So that's what I'm doing. Just basically tucking in this piece here and making sure you can feel through the fabric, like where the edge is. So you just want to make sure you're pinning it where you feel that edge is. And again, try not to stick yourself, and just pin it all the way down. Trying to make sure I'm getting this middle section as well, and then I get the end section. Okay. Now I got both of these attached to the bow, and I'm gonna go to the sewing machine and use a straight stitch on here, and I might reinforce it and do like a couple of lines, but I don't know if that's needed. I mean, it is just a headband, so I'll just do one and we'll see how that goes, and I'll take you over to the sewing machine so you can see me doing that. Okay, so I'm here at the sewing machine. I have my band put down, and I'm just going to try to sew this on here without sticking myself. And I'm gonna back stitch, and once I get it on here, I might, like I said, go back over it again, but I'm just trying to get it on here to begin with and keep everything in line. Trying to make sure I catch every section, and I back stitch, and then I come off. Now let's see how well I did at keeping it together, because I really did not want to get stuck with that pen. So let's see. Oh yeah, it's on there. So it's on there, no gaps. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to this side, and then I may or may not go over it again. So this might be tricky. First of all, let me get it on the machine where I want it. About right there. Okay. I know that felt odd. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and back stitch. And I'll just hold it down so I can remove those pins. I can still feel when it's in the right place. Back stitch. Let's see how we did on this side. Yep, it's on there. I think I still want to go over this edge one more time. Just to be sure. And you won't really be able to see it. I mean, it's the back of the headband. Hopefully nobody's looking that close at it, but I'm gonna go ahead and trim all these threads. Okay, you guys, I'm back. Let me tell you the struggle it was trying to learn how to tie this bow. But here it is. It's not perfect. I'm still playing around with the shape of it, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to make it a permanent sewn bow or leave it so that if they want to take it apart and you know, tie it, they can. But I'm still working on that. This is going to be for my niece, so yeah, here's the bow. I'm still trying to figure out the place, the shape that I want, but here's the bow that we made today. Super cute. And our pants to match. So our bow and our pants, they both came out wonderful. I'm going to add in a cute onesie with a cute saying on it, something kind of boho like. And I also have a shoe pattern that I'm gonna try out to go with this, and I'm gonna use this same fabric. And if I do that, I'll of course film it for you guys and let you see that too. But yeah, I think this came out wonderful. I really like it. This bow is a beast to learn how to to learn how to tie. Like, that was not fun, but I got it, and I think all in all it turned out fine. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of those marks next. But yeah, y'all stay tuned and I'll update you with some pictures later. If I don't add them to this video, then I will I'll update you in a later video, maybe when I make the shoes to go with it. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think.